On today's episode of Basic Buttercream Flower series, I'm going to be making two types of basic buttercream flowers. I'll be making the Dahlia flower and I'll be making the poppy flowers. Now these are quite simple to make and I hope you really enjoy them. Hi viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Susan and I am the host of Sussy's Cakes Recipes. To all my returning subscribers, thank you so much for joining and for always giving us your support. And to all my new viewers, welcome to my recipe channel, and this is where I share all things baking recipes. So let's get started. I'll be making use of a medium consistency of buttercream with piping bags that I already fitted with colored buttercreams. Then I'll be making use of my DIY parchment paper, some couplers and some nozzle tape, then a flower nail and a styrofoam to place the flower nail on it when I'm not working. For my Dahlia flower, I'm making use of a tip 124 first. I first placed my parchment paper that I cut into squares on my flower nail. I attached little buttercream to it and I'm going to pipe something like a center, just moving my piping tip in a circular motion to give me something like a center, a base. And I'm going to use my nozzle tip 124 and I'm going to make sure the fat part and the thin part are facing my parchment paper, and I'm going to type in this direction. I'm holding my piping bag in a straight motion and kind of slantly bent, a straight but kind of slantly bent, and I'm piping out each petals. Now you want to pipe the petals away from the center you just created. That's going to be the first layer. Now these particular flowers are prettier on cupcakes than when you do them on a flower nail. So once I'm through the first petals, I'll go over to create a second layer, creating the second set of petals. Now you want to make sure that the second petals you are creating are smaller, shorter than the first layers of petals you created. I want to also keep it in mind that your piping bag is held in a straight motion but slightly bent. Also, when creating more petals, after creating the first and second petals, when creating the third petals, make sure your petals are coming up like a tongue facing up. That is how you want the petals to look like. And you want to keep your hand in this motion when you are creating the third and the fourth petal. Now when I was creating the fifth petals, the one inside, I use a tip 81. You can still go ahead to use a tip 124 to do this, but I prefer using tip 81 to create the inner petals for this Dahlia flower. Always remember that each layer you are creating should be shorter than the previous layer, and when coming to the top, your petals should be pulling up just like a tongue facing up. Then once I was through with the center, I went in to get my nozzle tip 1 and I'm going to pipe in the center as if I'm making tiny rope. I held my piping bag in a straight motion and I'm making tiny rope, pipe as if I want to create a dot and pull up, then release the pressure. This was how I created the center. So for my Dahlia flowers, the nozzle tape I used were tip 124, the one we usually use to create buttercream rose. Then I use tip 81 in the center, just to make sure the petal, the last petal, faces up. And I went ahead to use tip 1 to create the center, the pod at the center. These were the nozzle tips I used in creating this Dahlia flower. For the poppy flower, I made use of tip 124, tip 3 and tip 1. Now I just added a little batch of buttercream on my flower nail, place my parchment paper on it, and I'm going to pipe this in a very simple motion. You make sure the tinier part of your tip 124 is facing outward, like it's not facing you, while the fatter part is facing you. You are going to hold your piping bag in a slanted motion, just as if you want to pipe rose. You are going to move your hand from the center, then move it up, and then when you come to the top, you're going to wiggle your hand a little, then pull your hand back again to the center. It's that simple. Move your hand from the center up while piping, wiggle it when you get to the top, and then pull your hand back, still piping, then release pressure from your piping bag. That is how I created the petals for this particular poppy flower, and I kept repeating that. Then for the second layer, you want to make sure that the second layer is shorter. The second layers of petals you're creating is shorter than the first one, and it's in between the first set of petals you created. Just keep doing that till you complete the second set. And then for the center, I picked my tip 3 and went in the center and pipe like a large dot using my white colored buttercream. I piped a large dot, then created something like rope, 4 rope. You can make it 6, but I created 4 rope meeting together at the center to create like a tip. Then I went in with my nozzle tip 1 to create tinier rope outside the white pod I created. This is how simple it is. Just watch the video, it's quite simple. After creating your petals, go with your nozzle tip 3, pipe a large dot. Then after piping the large dot, create like 4 or 6 kind of rope meeting at the center to create something like a cone, or a triangle. A triangle is the right word, like a triangle. Then after doing that, go over with your nozzle tip 1 and pipe like long tiny rope outside. And when you're piping this long tiny rope, don't be too conscious of it. Allow the rope you're piping to fall naturally, just like nature taking its course. Allow it to fall naturally. It can fall out, it can fall inward. Don't be too conscious of it. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm talking about the tinier rope. It doesn't have to be perfect. So that's how I created these flowers. To my new viewers, if you find my video very helpful, then please hit that subscription button to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on all my buttercream flower series and all subsequent videos and recipes, baking related and confectionery related recipes I share every week. Thank you so much for your support. And if you are living within Nigeria or in any country where the weather is quite hot, don't refrigerate your flowers. Just leave them on your work surface. It will crust on its own in few hours. But if you're living outside countries like Nigeria, you can do well to freeze your flowers. But if you do that for those of us in Nigeria, it's going to melt out once you place them on your cake and you go for deliveries, and you don't want that. So that is all for me for today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support. See you next week.